Oh, we can go? Okay, so should we...
You're having your main statement.
Yes, so we're going to talk... Well, I just want to tell the person
I'm sorry.
what we're talking about.
Well, you don't have to pick it up. Statements.
All right, we're talking about the legalization of euthanasia or assisted suicide. No, it's not. In most states, it's not.
Okay, do you save that for later?
Okay, do you want to start or do you want me to start? Okay, so euthanasia is a serious political, moral, and ethical issue today, and it's really important. I shouldn't look at that. It's really important because it affects millions of people, and well, yes, it does, definitely. And it involves life, which is probably the most important thing to mankind. And we don't believe that euthanasia should be legal because it contradicts a doctor's purpose, it causes social and religious conflict, and it limits the rapid improvement of medical innovation. Do you have anything else to add?
Yeah, it's also known as mercy killing or the right to die. That was important. And it has a dark history. Like they used it in Nazi Germany, so I think that's another big point that we don't want like snowballing into something like the government can use, which used to be.
And just really quickly, some of the things I think we're going to have to discuss would be, I'm sure you guys are well aware of the oath that doctors have to take when they practice medicine. I think that we have to adjust religious issues, maybe, and I think we have to talk about that, and I think we have to talk about cost and economics of it. So that's just some of the things that we want to talk about later.
Okay, so second place.
No, I got it.
Okay. So we are pro. The politically correct term is not euthanasia or like assisted suicide. It's physician-assisted death, physician-assisted dying, physician-hastened death, and dying. Medical aid in dying are the politically correct terms. And then we're specifically talking about the law of death with dignity, which refers to the end-of-life option that allows certain eligible individuals to legally request and obtain medications from their physicians to end their life in a peaceful, humane, and dignified manner. And just about all of the people who die using this are terminally ill and given less than 6 months to live, and they have this super, super long process they have to go through in order to obtain these medications. There's been no evidence of misusing any of these medications in decades because they're super strict, they're regulated, and everything like that.
Yeah. So the process of it is actually they have to make sure the patient's doing a voluntary, that they are educated, so the doctor will go through every single step with them, and then they have to go through they have to talk to a psychiatrist or psychologist to make sure that they are mentally sound, that they're not extremely depressed. So it's not a hasty decision. And they do have to, it has to be 8 or less months. So it's not you have years to live. It's a very short amount of time to make sure.
And how you guys brought the thing about the it's called the Hippocratic Oath or something like that the doctors have to take. So do you want to go on that side first?
Well, I was just going to ask you. I want to ask you how you guys interpreted that. How you think that a doctor giving a lethal drug to a patient does not violate that, or does not go against the doctor's purpose.
So doctors don't usually suggest it. It's the patient who usually brings attention to it, and not all doctors have to. It's not something they're required to do.
Mm-hmm.
If your regular physician is the one who's just diagnosed you with this terminal illness, and they don't believe in this, they will refer you to a different doctor who will help you with this. But again, these people are terminally ill, and most of their only other option is going to be life support or artificial treatment, which won't improve their life or anything like that. So they're just prolonging their pain. Yeah.
So the text, I'm just going to read. In my paper, I have 2 things. It says, "I will not give a lethal drug to anyone if I am asked, nor will I advise such a plan, and I will apply measures for the benefit of the sick according to my ability and judgment. I will keep them from harm and injustice." So, are you just saying that should be interpreted differently because times are different? Is that the argument?
Was written
because
years
be
ago.
Interpreted like this it's almost better for the patient itself too, because if they choose this way. They're dying. It's more peaceful. They have more control over how they're dying. They don't have to go through like the pain of the treatment. So it almost is what's best, like it's best interest of the patient.
But there's like tons of examples of people who like experience medical miracles.
Yeah.
Like I have an example of a man who like was like terminally ill and had like his family was told to like start planning his funeral, and he like was working on like it's kind of a religious thing, but he was working on this and like every day he began to like feel stronger. And it says that his oncologist was like blown away by the after like scans after, and like if you're like resorting to like assisted suicide or like physician assisted death. Yeah, it's like what if like anytime you're like that's the day that like miracle is supposed to happen, or like they come out with the cure for it like the next week, like you're never gonna know that, and if like it's legal, I feel like that's like another reason for like the process. It takes a super long time, which is why it's not rushed, because you can tell like medical improvement. So that takes a lot of time, and then 1 out of 3 people never ever take the medicine. They receive it. It's kind of just like a backup in case they get to the point in their life, like in their life where they're like in so much pain that they can't even like take care of themselves anymore. They can't even move. They can't even eat. It's just kind of like a comfort mechanism to have as well. Like they have the control to, like in their life if they're in so much pain that it's hurting people around him and people around them, and then hurting themselves as well.
So, and I wanted to add to what you were saying, like the whole miracles thing, and it's not always miracles too, which is why you shouldn't maybe wait. So, almost in the, I'm sure you guys are familiar with like Moore's law with technology improving. Almost. Okay, well, Moore's law is like every 2 years, technology, the capability of technology processors computing doubles, which it's followed this trend for the past couple of decades, right? The same thing is true with medical technology. It's greatly improved every year, and it's not uncommon for like life-saving drugs to be developed. Like it happens all the time, and every year, according to one report that I read, there's just in the United States alone, there's hundreds of billions of dollars being poured into medical research and development every year. So they're not just tackling one thing; they're tackling all sorts of terminal things. So instead of telling the doctor, instead of like having a doctor give up on the patient, I think that they should work until the very end, no matter like how bad it gets. Because I mean, the potential to heal and have a good life again is, I think, way greater than that.
So actually, with like the whole like going through the process, the patient still can receive like the treatment. It's just also mixed with, or they don't go like push the patient like as hard. So like they still are being like taken care of what they need. So like the doctor isn't just like, oh, you're gonna like do this.
They don't just stop.
Like they don't stop. Like they kind of like mesh it together. So they do like continue with like the palliative care, but they like contribute, like they take it more of like compassionate, and they like have more respect for like the patient, because like they know they don't necessarily want to go through like the extreme suffering of like chemo treatments and everything.
Well, some patients it can be interpreted in 2 different ways, like taking like medicine or whatever to like kill you, or like taking you off life support when you can't like you know like coma or something, and you're not like weak, but like it's not your decision if you're in that state, and it's like your family's decision, and it could be for them to like not have to compensate like healthcare costs. So like that's another reason like people could use it for the wrong reasons.
Well,
and it's like devaluing human life, and like do we want that impression coming off to our youth that like life isn't as like valuable and not as much as a gift as like you should like feel like.
So what you're saying is like by having this option, people will like abuse it.
Like
because you have to look at the perspective. So like if the government pays for a lot of people's healthcare. I got it. The government pays for a lot of people's healthcare. Insurance has to cover it. I mean, this stuff is expensive. A lot of terminal illnesses are really expensive.
This is why that's an option.
Which is
a lot cheaper.
You're right. It's $35, which is really cheap.
There's some.
400. It's between 400 and
And-
500 dollars.
and like a
The one that I looked at was
In like a
$35.
powder
But,
form, it's like $35. It's like super cheap, but in like
but anyways, okay, whatever it is, it's tiny compared to the
Yeah.
medical
Yeah, it
treatment
varies.
keeping it alive. However, if you made this option like nationally legal, right? You have, if the government's paying for your healthcare and they know you're going, they know there's a small chance you'll probably live, they're going to push this option. They're going to want to use this option. It's so much cheaper than keeping you alive. That's so much money they're saving. If you have millions of people who are under the same healthcare, that's billions of dollars the government's saving. Same thing with insurance companies. Insurance companies don't want to insure this a terminally ill person. It doesn't make economic sense for them. So if you give them this option, they might say, hey, we're not going to cover treatment past this point because there's this option that's legal that we want to use. So that's what we mean by how this could, because it sounds great in theory, but we think that it could be taken advantage of in negative ways if it was implemented. So if it was legalized nationally, there would have to be so much restriction. It would be really almost impossible to distinguish like fraud or not. But and I'm sorry, but let me add one more thing. It's like, and also when it's really, like I said, we agree on that it's really expensive to keep someone alive, like that. But a huge portion of this money, it's almost like $10,000 a month, is what I read actually, at least at a minimum for most terminal diseases. But a lot of this money gets put back into research and development. So if we made this option legal, there'd be less funding in this area, which would kind of stagnate or slow this whole thing that I was talking about earlier with Moore's Law. The technology and the medicine wouldn't be improving every year like it is now. So I think it's better that people who have it maybe can contribute to the future and help their kids and their grandkids finding like a cure to some of this stuff, because it's happening now. It will continue to happen if we don't legalize this nationally. But that was just from an economic perspective, one of our points.
Yeah, it's just not that everyone uses us. Like, again, only 1 in 3 people use it. So it's not like everyone's using it. They're still contributing to their end-of-life care. Like, majority of them who use it are in hospice as well. So, like, they're paying for that as long as they're paying life support and other medications and stuff like that. So there is still money going back up until the point of their death. But another, like, a month or 2 of that money isn't essentially going to change so much.
No, that makes sense. And would you guys, we wanted to bring up maybe, there's a lot of scenarios that can kind of get difficult with this. One being, especially when you talk about religious scenarios, so like...
Well, even not even religious, just like the impression on the youth that it gives, like the value of life.
Well, yes, but like I talked about an example. You have, let's say, really Catholic parents, right? And you decide, I don't want to do that. I don't believe in a religion. I'm an atheist. So you are really sick. You're terminally ill, and you decide that this is what you want to do. The issue with that is your parents now think that, well, depending on how they interpret things, that you may be going to hell, or you are doing horrible things, and they can do nothing about it because you made that decision. And they're going to have to live the rest of their life with grief and like sadness and like that they should have done something, even though they couldn't have because their kid, this is just a scenario that I made up, to do that. So like, how would you work around, or like we legalize this, like around like religious and social issues?
It is like anyone's constitutional right to like have the right to religion, but it's nobody's obligated to like care about your spiritual beliefs. So like if I'm atheist and I want to do this because I have a terminal illness, I'm giving 4 months to live, I can do it and I don't have to respect any of the Catholics or anything because that is my right as well.
Okay.
Yeah. Just because we're such a Christian based country, there is progress going in a way.
No,
there is a separation of church and state.
Yeah.
And that's what I was going to bring up.
Well, attempted suicide is illegal in the United States, so why would suicide, assisted suicide be legal?
Well, that's what we're arguing kind of a little bit, but no, that makes sense. Well, that's what they're saying. Killing with consent is still murder. That's kind of the argument, right?
Yeah.
So another thing to keep on that was what did I want to bring up here? Let's see. With a religion, I want to say it's not only Christianity. It's 84% of people. 84% of the population is religious, and of those people, I think 75% follow a religion that says, "Hey, you should not commit suicide." That's in some sort of text, or that's a belief that they have. So that's why I say that's why I said it was worth talking about, just because such a huge portion of the population I would have conflict with this.
Yeah, and I mean, I myself, like, I'm Catholic, so, like, personally, like, I don't, like, see, like, I don't know if I would personally do this, but I think it's important to, like, give someone the option, because, like, I can't control, like, what you decide to do with your body, like, that's not my right to say. So I think even if it is, like, this is an option for me, but, like, if I was ever diagnosed with terminal illness, I don't necessarily go down this path. But for people who are interested, I think it's still, like, an important thing to have, like, to give somebody options, because it's not like they're forcing this down your throat, like, it's, but it's something that it's important if someone wants to choose to go down this path for them to have that ability, just because it's, in certain religions, they don't see it as right, that doesn't affect.
I just think, like, I don't know, this is one of my main points, is that, like, we have so many, like, kids today who think, like, their life is unbearable and they can't go on, and, like, seeing people, like, having the option to, like, end their lives when their pain is unbearable, like, it gives a wrong impression to our youth that, like, it's okay to, like, if your pain is unbearable, like for, like, a kid and stuff who's, like, struggling, like, they're saying, like, this, like, situation shows them, like, it's okay, their pain's unbearable, so is mine, so even if, like, my doctor doesn't say it, like, other people are doing it, and it just gives off the wrong impression.
These people, like,
In 2 minutes, let's just do closing statements.
Okay.
I just want to say that. Go
like
ahead,
these people have a terminal illness and it's been, like, diagnosed, and, like, they're not just having, like unbearable pain of, like, a mental health aspect. Like, they're having, like,
I know, I'm just saying, like, some kids are going to view it that way. Like, not everyone's going to
You
realize,
get
like,
social
oh,
implications.
yeah.
that's why we have to distinguish the, like, the in between, because, like, they are doing this for a moral reason. Like, they believe that this is better than suffering this illness until its very end. These people are eventually going to die. That is, like, plain and simple.
Oh, well,
But
yeah,
they
so
are
that-
dying in a shorter
that's,
period
that's,
of time.
And that's one of the points, like, with our whole, my saying the medical innovation's improving, and then you're saying with the whole miracles thing, right? It happens. It's not a guarantee, but you're right.
That's why the
They're most
process
likely
to
going to die.
obtain this medicine will take months. Like, it takes months to get this medicine.
And by the time you get it, you are, according to doctors and physicians, close to death.
Yeah.
So close to death, and, like,
They don't want to see their family, like, they don't want their family to see them suffering through all this pain.
So,
When they can just die at home with their family.
2 more months of them living, so what's, like, the big difference? And, like, I just don't see it.
well, I think what we can agree on at least is that no matter which way we do, there's going to be like issues with family members, whether it be like religious, like what we talked about, or like what you're saying, watching. No one wants to watch their child suffer either, or their sister, or whatever, their parent, doesn't matter who it is, suffer. So I understand that too.
If it's, like, if it is legal, some people, like I was saying earlier, some people are on, like, life support and, like, can't make that decision for themselves. Some families are going to be put through the decision of having, like, they don't want to lose their child because they still have hope, but, like, doctors are, like, saying, like, you hear about it, like, all the time, doctors saying, like, make time to, like, take them off life support. So, like, families are going to have to go through that as well. And, like, I feel like seeing them fight until their, like, very last breath is better than having to make the decision to, like, kill your child or not.
But they're not making the decision. The child, like, even if it's not the child, they are making the decision for themselves. And
Well, if they're on life support, they're not.
they can't obtain this medicine without them being conscious and being in the right mental state.
All right, we should do closing statements. So, like, you 45 seconds. Or do you want to go first? Or do you want to?
Yeah.
Well, let's just divide the rest of the time in
Our
half.
first is the 5 minutes. It's like us trying to figure out how to turn it on.
Okay. Oh yeah, you're right. We may have a little bit of time.
You can
Okay.
go. I don't really care.
Do you want to do closing statements now, though?
I don't. Yeah, sure.
I mean, here I have like a quote by somebody
Sure.
because this is legal fully,
Yeah,
and
we have the timer. Yeah.
like this is fully legal in European states because it's seen as a human right. Like it's like your right as a human to like decide what happens to your body. So it's kind of saying it's like Americans should enjoy a right guaranteed in the European Declaration of Human Rights. The right not to be forced to suffer. It should be considered as much of a crime to make someone live whose justification is not wish to continue as it is to take life without consent. So it's almost saying, like, by forcing somebody to go through the amount of pain that you go through with a mental illness, it's almost like a crime in itself. Like, you're forcing someone to be in a painful situation that they do not wish to be in. And so, it's just, I don't think people should have control over what someone else does with their body.
And like ultimately, like with this law, which would probably it's based off the Oregon model, which is like the most successful model. Like this amount of safeguards they have, like it's virtually almost impossible to misuse this because the government regulates the medicine from like, when it's dispensed to the person's death, it's disposed of properly. And ultimately, you're just ending people's like terminal illness suffering. Like they're
Okay. So, I guess you can add to this as well. But we don't think that this like deserves to be in our society because we don't think that doctors should ever give up, no matter how hopeless a situation might be. We don't want patients to cause their families potentially a life of grief and hopelessness. And no one should give up hope, we don't think, no matter how sick they are. And we think that no matter how it's described, this is going to be wrong. That's in knowledge. Do you have anything else to add? Or?
I just have, in Greek, euthanasia means good death. But, like, are you really dying a good death knowing that you didn't, like, fight until, like, the last breath?
You guys can. Are you
I
good?
thought with closing statements.
Yeah,
Should
no.
have done after.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, see you, Miss Jimenez.